Ah, hello. I didn't see you there. I was just enjoying the Christmas season by staring at my tree and drinking some eggnog. I know why you're here. You saw the title, I play Dead Rising every Christmas, and you thought, who in their right mind would play such a violent, unrelated to Christmas game every year during the holiday season? Well, the answer to that is simple. Why do we do anything? And I don't mean that in the rhetorical sense, I'm genuinely asking that, because the answer is that every tradition starts with just simply doing it. I myself have plenty of traditions for the winter months. Of course, a lot of them revolve around Christmas and media related to that holiday. I genuinely think I've watched The Christmas Story every year since I was born. But there was one year I started a new run of Dead Rising a few days before Christmas. Outside was a gentle flurry of snow, and inside was covered in nice, warm holiday decorations. And it felt so right to me. Maybe it was simply because it was at a time when I didn't have too many worries and I was just feeling the Christmas season, but ever since then I've made it a point to at least play Dead Rising every single year once the snow hits. This year is no different, because aside from deciding to play a violent and sometimes depressing zombie game during the best time of the year, that is to say, the end of it, Dead Rising is one of my favorite games of all time. And boy howdy has it been a wild ride being a Dead Rising fan for the last decade and a half. But let's not dwell on that right now. Let me walk you through the very first Dead Rising game and why I think you should play it. Also, Merry Christmas, I guess. In Dead Rising, we play as Frank West. Don't worry, he doesn't associate with Kanye after that one thing he did, you know the one. A journalist who's looking for his next big story. He got an anonymous tip that something is going down in the small town of Willamette, Colorado, so he flies in via helicopter and finds that the military has the town walled off and the people seem to be going gaga down below. Not wanting to pass up what looks to be a huge story, Frank tells the pilot to come back for him in 3 days right before he leaps out of the helicopter and breaks his legs on the roof of the mall. There, Frank meets a man named Carlito who starts being all cryptic and tells Frank this place is hell.
This, my friend, is hell.
Surprisingly, he isn't even referring to the incident, he just wanted to make sure that Frank knew he was at a mall in the year 2006. Anyways, once Frank goes into the mall, he finds that the big thing happening is indeed zombies, as this bug-eyed old man informs him of.
You looking to get yourself eaten alive by...
But hey, at least they got everything under control. Okay, so since this old lady values her dog over the lives of the strangers around her, based, the zombies get let in and Frank retreats back to the security room where he meets Brad, Jesse, and the most powerful character in the whole Dead Rising franchise, Otis the janitor. I'm not even kidding, if you die during this segment, you still make it through because Otis saves Frank and only Frank for some reason. From this point onward, Frank ventures back into the mall to try to figure out what's going on, as well as who Carlito is since the next time you see him, he's trying to kill you, and why this outbreak happened in the first place. All the while, you look for survivors to bring back to the security room and try on women's clothing. What makes Dead Rising work so well for me is how the major plot takes itself incredibly seriously, with some levity here or there, but it's less like rolling your eyes at the camera and more just a bunch of characters in an absurd situation that they aren't familiar with. It helps that all the characters in the game are likable, maybe not too complex, but you see them start very cagey, trying to stay focused on the task at hand. But as time goes on and the truth starts to be revealed to them, they begin to rely on each other and even garner some sympathy for the guilty parties at hand. This is still a Christmas video, by the way. And then there's Frank.
I've covered wars, you know.
What I absolutely love about Frank is that he's a cocky, hotshot reporter who would do anything for a scoop, but he's not quippy like similar characters usually are.
Should've saw that coming.
In this game, he isn't anyways, but he's more the type to pay attention to what's going on, and when he does speak up, it's with a purpose. Like, he doesn't just ask Brad to help with the investigation, he holds the fact that he has information that they need as leverage against him, and he's kind of a shit about it, which is just perfect for his character. TJ Rotolo is Frank's voice actor, and he's got such a unique voice for Frank that I genuinely cannot see anyone else voicing him, so it's been difficult for me. The reason why I love this depiction of Frank isn't just how entertaining he is, but he's got the personality of a guy whose first thought in a zombie apocalypse is to get a lawnmower and chop a wave of zombies down. I believe Frank is the kind of guy who would be like, you know what, I'm putting this dress on and I'm gonna make it work! Still a Christmas video, by the way. Here's a single jingle bell for you. Alright, now then, the gameplay of Dead Rising is probably the best part of the game. See, when Dead Rising came out, its claim to fame is the amount of zombies that could be in any given area at the same time, and anything you find in a mall can be used as a weapon, from standard stuff like sledgehammers or baseball bats, to unconventional stuff like benches and trash cans. And of course you'll find useless shit, CD cases, toy swords, you'll find such a variety of weapons in this game, and sometimes Frank attacks like such a weirdo. Like, why does he swing a guitar like that? Is he stupid? Though I think the odd nature of some of these animations gives way more of a strange personality to this game. See, Dead Rising was made right around the start of Japanese developers trying to appeal to Western gamers. That's how we got absolute classics like fucking Dark Void. Dead Rising was an attempt on the ever-popular zombie genre of horror, kind of like what they wanted Resident Evil to be back during its inception, but unlike Resident Evil, the dev team wanted to make the game funny. So that's why it's set in a mall, and that's why Frank is such a weirdo with everything he uses. It kind of feels like a Japanese game disguising itself as a Western game. game. Like I said before, the plot takes itself incredibly seriously, but you can dress Frank like this and kill zombies like that. It just feels nice to play. Frank starts pretty whatever, but by the end of the game, you can take down Special Forces agents by ripping their tummies out. Frank actually gets a lot of wacky abilities too. The game does a pretty poor job of showing you what you can do when you do get a new ability. Sorry, did you miss the tiny scrolling text at the bottom of the screen? At least you can check your skills in the menu, but you can become quite competent unarmed against the zombie hordes. Too bad the NPCs aren't. So the secondary objective of Dead Rising is rescuing any survivors you find and funneling them back to the safe room. Easier said than done. The AI in this game is infamously bad. It's not just that randomly the AI will continue to walk into objects instead of the open path. Not just that the AI will try to fight every zombie next to them instead of running. Not just that the AI will get into each other's way, halting all progress till you slap them around. Not that they will just randomly stop and not move at all. Not just that half the time they route in the most inefficient way to where you are in a time-sensitive scenario. Not just that they will run directly into your attacks when you're trying to clear a path, but on top of all of that, you can't skip any of the dialogue. So once you inevitably have to redo a part for the umpteenth time, you just gotta sit there and wait for their unvoiced dialogue to go through. And like I said, this is a time-sensitive scenario. The 3-day time limit in this game is real. Every objective is on a timer, and I honestly love this mechanic. I find the process of planning out a route to get everything done while keeping on schedule to be fun. It's the same reason why I love the Persona games so much. But when you have to sit here and wait for them to finally agree to follow you, only for them to walk directly into a group of zombies to get ripped to shreds, then you have to reload to 20 minutes ago so you can sit through the unskippable dialogue for 3 different groups you picked up on your way just to get jumped by some fucking assholes in a military vehicle, it kinda ticks me to flip off! Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol? For as frustrating as they can be, I can't say I don't get a sense of fulfillment when I do manage to get the whole group of survivors back to the safe room and get a bunch of XP at once. Looking at Dead Rising 2 for a second, the NPCs in that game are way more self-sufficient, so much so that you don't even have to pay attention to them, they just follow you. And between the main secondary objective being painfully frustrating or painfully nothing, I mean, I say I prefer the former, but sometimes... I have gotten pretty good at dealing with the AI though. You can point to specific locations for them to go to, and they kind of go straight there, so if you keep doing short little trots, you can herd them like sheep. Not everyone you find them all are friendly, however, which brings me to probably my favorite part of Dead Rising, the psychopaths. Essentially, these are the boss battles of the game. Quirky and unique people who lost it due to zombies being kind of a fucked up concept and become violent towards Frank whenever he dares to exist near them. Every single one is wholly unique in their fighting style as well, so it adds some much needed variety after chopping the same type of zombie throughout the whole game. And what I love about them is how much character these guys have in their short screen time. That odd Japanese look to Western society is on full display here, because when, say, one of them is a store manager who still takes his job too seriously, he isn't just angry and yelling, he's fucking screaming at you and doing all these weird movements with his body.
I don't allow vandalism in my store!
It always feels like you just stumbled onto a really bizarre scenario with people who've either gone full mad or are taking advantage of the situation. I remember the family of hunters, the guy from Hatred in high school, the gun store owner, a mall cop who's... those convicts I mentioned earlier, frickin' hate these guys. And even another cameraman who you meet on the first day, do a few things for over the course of your time there, and then he tries to kill you on the third. Amongst all of them though, my favorite has to be Cliff, the Vietnam War veteran who's going through a PTSD episode after he witnessed his granddaughter die to zombies. Jingle bells, what the hell? The icing on the cake is that these boss battles all have unique themes for them. But it's not always just a simple score, sometimes it'll be a licensed song from a group I've never heard of. Cliff here has the song Slave by the Evolutionaries, and man, the vibe it brings with its heavy guitar and its lyrics that sound like they're from the perspective of a vindictive Christ-like figure, Merry Christmas, adds so much to what is just a little moment not connected to the major plot. Of course, the song everyone remembers is Gone Guru by Lifeseeker, which was an original song made for this game. And yeah, that song is pretty great, and it really does add to this fight, especially since the convicts can come back, so even after death, sometimes you'll come out to the park and... oh, fuck! I'm not gonna go through each boss, but I do want to just put the store manager's theme here for 1 second. Yeah, that's the kind of music we're talking here. Now, fans of Dead Rising will notice I have yet to mention probably the most famous boss from the game, Adam the gosh darned clown. I mentioned him last because I feel like Adam is what I consider to be the best part of the whole game, and also leads to what I think is the one thing Dead Rising does that I would have personally changed. So Adam is a clown who, after the zombies showed up, set the roller coaster ride in the Wonderland Plaza to start going super fast so the zombies stay away. Unfortunately, someone is on the ride, so Frank has to take Adam down since he has the key for it. And of course, Adam's a little cuckoo. Out of every boss in the game, hell, out of the whole Dead Rising series, Adam has the most diverse moveset. Aside from dual-wielding mini chainsaws, he can also blow fire, hop around like Mario on Adderall, throw knives, and even blow these balloons that I think have needles in them when they pop. You can use the balloons to your advantage, but for the most part, you'll have to look for what little openings he gives you. The fight is thrilling, and all throughout the fight, Adam's theme plays, which is just a wild composition. This theme would become so iconic to this game that when Frank was added in the Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, despite him having an iconic theme of his own, he would have a mix of Adam's theme accompanying him in the game.
Air combo! Danger!
I really do love Adam's fight, and once you beat him, it gets capped off with a holiday tradition. After beating him, the survivor you save shows you a shortcut to the other side of the mall, which is incredibly useful, and you can get Adam's mini chainsaw anytime you go to the Wonderland Plaza. Here is Dead Rising's biggest oopsie in my opinion. The mini chainsaw is good, and I mean really good. So much so that if you find these 3 book items to expend its lifespan 3 times, you can go grab 2 or 3 copies of the chainsaw. Congratulations, other than the final boss of the game, you have just made Dead Rising dick easy. I know I could just simply not use this exploit if I don't want the game to be too easy, and of course that's always an argument to be made, but I still feel like they made it way too easy to exploit this. All they really had to do was make it so you can only have 1 mini chainsaw at a time, and it'll only respawn once the one you got breaks. And really, when you're doing a full survival run from a new game, you'll eventually rely on this weapon. It's not impossible by any means, but I'm not gonna pretend like it's not there when there's no time and I need to get around as quick as possible. Just like real life, if your deadlines are coming too quickly, rely on a mini chainsaw.
Fix the newel post!
And this by no means ruins the game, especially since you could just not use it like I said, but I just wish it wasn't so easy to exploit. Even with that though, this game is just too much fun. You unlock an overtime mode upon completing the game, which is essentially an epilogue chapter, and after that you get the infinity mode, where you can run around the mall all willy-nilly to your heart's content. But Frank's health is constantly draining, so you have to kill zombies to slow it, and health items are scarce, so you have to ration what you got. Good luck with that 5-day survivor achievement, buddy. So I don't know if you guys are aware, but I like Dead Rising a lot. Sure, it's a little jank, but its jank is what makes it so fun to play. The series went on to have a sequel with its own spin-off thing, and a threequel, which is divisive, but I like it a lot personally. And then the series died for a while. Frank cameoed in a few games, but it wasn't until 2024 where we got the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, which I haven't played yet, but from what I've heard, it's pretty fun and makes a bunch of improvements. The voice cast being replaced is a little lame, and I know the anti-woke crowd really didn't like some of the changes, but I just want to know why they made Frank look like that. He looks good, don't get me wrong, but they gave him a big old honker right there, didn't they?
Big nose gamers rise up.
Playing the original Dead Rising again, for me anyways, is like wearing a comfortable pair of pants. It feels good on my butt. The familiarity of the mall's layout, my knowledge of the items and how to navigate the NPCs, and even its cheesy but fun and honestly depressing story just feels so right to me. And for some reason, when I see fucking snow outside, it hits the hardest. I'm sure plenty of you have a weird piece of media you enjoy around this time of year too. I know some folks that watch The Lord of the Rings around this time, and some people will play Sonic 1 since that was a big Christmas game when it came out, or Die Hard, which, yes, millennials, we get it. It's a Christmas movie, please stop acting like we don't see it like that.
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
And I mean, what, do people watch Baby Geniuses because it has a Christmas scene in it? Or Paul Blart Mall Cop since it is kind of related to Christmas, I guess?
I believe in magic!
Look, if you have something you enjoy or want to engage with this time of year, who cares why? Just do it. Christmas is the time of year where we can reflect on who we were and who we are now, and part of that is losing yourself in nostalgic media and remembering that feeling you had when you first engaged with it, or even when you first started associating it with this time of year. Because look, the year is ending, a new one is starting, and who knows what's gonna happen. Things might suck now, they might suck more or less next year, but the fact of the matter is, you're here right now. And for right now, at the time of year people claim is the most wonderful one, give yourself some time to just enjoy yourself. And if that's playing some niche game you played when you were 10, then do it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna get back to staring at this tree and drinking this eggnog. Because now that I finished playing Dead Rising, I don't really have anything else to do for the Christmas season. Oh, and Merry Christmas, by the way.